Good day, everyone. My name is Temidayo, a programmer from Keembest Software Solution Ltd. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys on how you can become a professional programmer. You don't need to pay money to any higher institution or any institution just to learn programming. If you follow this tutorial very well, you are going to learn programming, C# programming from scratch to professional level. All I need you to do is to just subscribe to this channel so that anytime I'm uploading a new version of a video, you'll be getting notified. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn some important key things we need to know in programming. We have introduction, we have UI design, we have variable and constant, we have concatenation, we have logical operators, we have arithmetic operators, we have comparison operators, we have data type, we have class, we have method, we have function, we have assemblies, we have loop, and we have code action in database, which will be the last part of this tutorial. With all these concepts, if you can understand all these concepts, you'll be able to develop any application of your choice, depending on the functionality of that application. So the first thing I'm going to start with here is the introductory part of the tutorial. The first thing you need to know as a programmer, you need to understand the syntax of the programming language you want to learn, just like your normal language, your normal native language. You need to understand the grammar, how it flows, and what you need to bring together the logics. Exactly the same way in programming language, you also need to bring together one or two syntax to perform a particular task. So we also develop a simple program just to show you how it works. A simple program that is going to display hello world. And we're also going to do simple arithmetic operations. So let's start something. Let's start a practical. So I'm going to launch my Visual Studio 15. When you launch your Visual Studio 15, you allow it to open. I will advise you guys to download Visual Studio 15 for this particular tutorial, because once you master this Visual Studio 15, you'll be able to use any Visual Studio, even Visual Studio 19 and the rest. But the most important thing is for you to get the concept of this tutorial. So let's create a new project. You come to this place and create a new project. So if you want to create a new project, mind you, we are developing this program on what? Visual C#. So make sure you select the Visual C#. If it's not being selected, you select it. So you make sure your cursor is also, the Windows Form application is also selected. You select the Windows Form application. After selecting the Windows Form application, the next thing you do is to what? You rename the application. You name it to any name of your choice. Now we are going to be working on Hello World, so I'm going to rename mine to Hello World. Good. So after renaming, you come to this part and click the OK. And let's wait it to open. Let's wait for it to open. So now, after renaming, the first thing you are going to see is the Form 1. Is the Form 1. At default, it will rename the form to Form 1. So once you see this form, it means you are good to go. This form is where you design your user interface and then you do your coding, your coding wiring back end. The usefulness of this form is to display to users what they need to, as in the user interface, the way they are going to operate the user interface of the program. So for us, to display hello world here, I'm just going to we can use different means to display hello world. If I like, I can display an hello world using just one button and a message box. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, let's click on these two boxes. For instance, let me close these two boxes and also close this Safari Explorer. You see, this place is empty now. So let's close this Solution Explorer also, and also close this property. Now, do you know what I just did? I just ensure the page is empty, so that when you just install your Visual Studio, you might not see all those options, and you start asking yourself, where are those options? Where are those options? It's very simple. Once you first of all launch your Visual Studio on your system, if you can't find those options from here, from the right hand side of the system of your screen, and also the left hand side of your screen, which is the Safari Explorer and the toolbox, and in the right hand side we have the Solution Explorer, we have the project property and the rest. So if you can't get them there, the only thing you need to do is to go to view. Under this view, that is where all the tools you need are incorporated. Just go there and start picking the ones you need. Now I'm going to pick the Solution Explorer. I need Solution Explorer, and I'm going to explain each and every one of it. Solution Explorer, after double clicking on Solution Explorer, you will find out that it will appear on the right hand side of the screen. And once it appears on the right hand side of the screen, you can click it so that it should just scroll out. So once it's displayed, the next thing you'd see are all the information pertaining this particular project we are about to work on. The work of Solution Explorer is to keep track of all necessary resources used on this project. If you look at, you find out that we have the Hello World, which is the name of the project. We have properties. This is the project properties, the assemblies and the resources. If you use any image and the rest, you find them here, which is the assemblies and the resources. So if you go further, reference, any references, that is the any reference we use, like for instance, if we use some calls like system.io, system.data.oledb, all those things are going to be displayed here. So this app configuration, this place is meant for the app. This is where all the configuration of this app, this is where they are all initialized. So we have form 1. This form 1 displays, as in is for this form we are looking here, right here. If I cancel this form, you can still bring it back by going to your Solution Explorer. That is the work of Solution Explorer. Once you want to display any form on the design panel, you have to come to Solution Explorer. Then you just scroll to where you want to display, which of the form you want to display. Like now, for instance, I want to display form 1. I'm going to double click on form 1, and it's going to appear on this screen. So now I believe we all understand what Solution Explorer is. Now this program CS is just a class. It's a class where you set where your program should start running from. For instance, if you look at this class now, you will find out that we have application.run, new equals to form 1, meaning the application should start running from form 1. If I should include another form into this program and I set that form here, that means I want the application to, when a user launch my application, there is a particular form I want to come first before the main form display. So this place is the place you are going to set it, which is the program file. It contains the program file. So now I said we are going to display just a simple hello world program. So for us to do so, we can find our toolbox here. Then you also go to your view, you bring in your toolbox. Look at it. Toolbox is where you can get all the necessary tools you want to use in your program. So, and as you add toolbox, it comes to the left hand side. So we also need another one called property. The property dialog should be also needed. So the property window, you double click it, it will be here. The property window shows just like we human being now, we all have our various property. Like me, my name is Hakim. Yeah, I'm dark in complexion. I have a dark hair. I have a big eye. I have a small nose. All those things are my property, my characteristics. So likewise, this form also has its own property. If you look at this form now, this form is named Form 1. For you to know the property of that form that is named Form 1, you just come to this place. From here, you find out that this Form 1 is here. And look at this test. You can name this, you can change this test. This test can be changed to anything of your choice. You can change, if I like, I can change it to Hello World. Hello World. Good. That is for test, and that hello world is going to display here. You can see it. It will change. Hello world will be changed, and the form 1 will be changed to hello world here, but the name of the form will not be changed. The name is what the program will be using. Anytime you want to call this program, you must remember that this form is called Form 1. So I will your first form is always Form 1. So if you are putting another form now, it will be Form 2. So instead of naming it Form 2, it's better you name it anything you want to name it, so that you can still remember what you name it. So that is that about the test and name. So for us to display hello world, just go to your toolbox. Under your toolbox, you see all Windows form. You drop down the all window form 3. So once you drop down the 3, you scroll down to where there is button. If you can't scroll, just type it button, and it's going to suggest the thing you are looking for. We have button there. Look at it. Just double click on that button. Once you double click on the button, you drag, you see the button will display on this form. And this Visual Studio, another beautiful thing of Visual Studio is that it allows drag and drop. So this button, you just drag it to anywhere you want it to be on this form. And how do you drag? You just press down your right click button, and then you drag it down anywhere you want it to be. And you can also use your arrow keys to direct it, but if you really want your work to be more faster, dragging and dropping will be more better. So you drop, then this button now, if you look at it, it names the button 1, but we don't want to use something like this. We need to, put a label on our button, so that when the user sees it, you don't need to come and be explaining to the user that this is what I want this button to do. No, you won't be there even when your user are using your program. So it's better you put a descriptive label on every part of your project. So we have this button, and I want that button to be when it is being clicked, it displays hello world. So I'm going to change the text. This text is very important. So that is what you'll be changing if you want that text to carry the label you want it to carry here. So we are going to name that text. We are going to name it, rename it to click me. I just said click me now. So now this click me means once you've named it anything, you've changed the text to anything of your choice. So I just prefer using that click me. So Now, if I want to write any code inside this click me, if you look at, we are just designing, there's no code yet. So if I want to write any code inside this click me, I double click that code. Now, if I double click the code, it takes me to another separate window. That separate window is the .cs file, which is the C# we are talking about. So the Windows design file is different from the CS file, because the design file is the user interface, while the CS file is the main back-end programming language, which is C# that we are using to develop this application. So from this panel, let me explain each and every one of this panel. All these things above are called assemblies. All these things are the assemblies which we are using. If it is on Java, you find out that Java programming language uses, instead of using, they uses import. They'll use import for their own assemblies. So they will import any assembly of their choice. Likewise, C++, that one uses uses. So why Visual Studio uses using. So we also have another name here, namespace hello world. This namespace hello world shows that this program we are writing, it houses the entire program. That this program is called hello world. The project is called hello world. In every project we are going to be open, this namespace hello world will always be showing, to show that we are on hello world. Now this is a class. This is a class. This place, if you look at it from here, you can close it, meaning this class ends here, so you can open it. You understand? Likewise, this, you can also close it, meaning this hello world, there are some codes written inside it. You can also open it. So this partial class form 1 form, meaning we are on a class called form 1, and that form 1 contains so many methods, so many functions. Like this one, we have the initialize component. This is where the component, the program initializes from. So if any code is being tempered here, the program will not run. So we have private void button 1 click. Now this is where we are going to. If you observe, after clicking on this button, my cursor keep blinking here, meaning this is where I'm to code any instruction I want this button to do. So inside this button is where you are going to put the instruction you want it to do. It must not pass beyond these two open and close braces. It must not go beyond it. Do you understand? So now you must make sure your cursor is in between the open and close brace of the button, and this button is named button 1. But because we want to write a function for button 1 now, they decided to name it button 1 click. So anytime this button is being clicked, a function will be called, which is this button 1 click. So now we are going to write our hello world, and Visual Studio, for it to display just a simple message, it uses a keyword called message bus, which is only known by the compiler, and we are still going to get to keywords. Now message bus does show. You are telling the message bus to show something, and what is that thing? You make sure you put it in quotation, because this message bus and this show is a function under message bus class. So you have to message bus dot show. You have to call this class called the function called show. And what do you want it to show? Hello world. So I want this message board to show hello world. So if I should save this program now and then I go to this place, very simple. You don't need to compile. The Visual Studio. One sweet thing of it with Visual Studio is that as you run it, it automatically compiles your program for you. So once you run, you wait for it to compile. So look at it, the output tray is running here. So after it's finished, you see it comes up. This is your form. Let's see, this is our form. I see it. So inside this form now, you can see other things. You can minimize. You can come back to it. So you can also maximize, but it is scatter. Then we have close. We have the close button also if you don't want it. So but all these things we can customize it to be our own, to be what we want. So you can click on this and see what happens. See, hello world. So that is the dialog box we want to show, which is the message box we want to display, hello world. So there's another way you can also write this simple program instead of using message box. You can customize this form to your own taste. You can customize it to your taste, and by customizing, sorry for that, I just need to close some of this program. Okay, am I done with this? I think no. Let's go back to it. So now we can customize this to our to look like what we want. So now let's assume I want this button should be here, and I want this form to be more smaller. Then I want this button to be more bigger. Hope you are seeing what I'm doing. Good. So I want to put it in the middle. Good. So I will change the color, the background color of the button. Anytime I told you, anytime you want to if I want to work on this form now, I will select that form and go to its property, meaning I'm on form 1 property. If I want to work on button, I select button and go to its property, meaning I'm on button 1 property. So now on this button 1 property now, we have what we call background color. Now I can change the background color to be any color of my choice, like using green. So I can also change the text color. You can see the text color is black, which is not okay on the green. So we can change the text color to be white, which is 4 color. The 4 color, change it to be white. Let's select from web. You can select from custom, you can select from web, you can select from system, anyone you want. Let's select from web. So let's change it to white. You can see it. So now I can change the font. I can make sure I can work on the font. The font is too tiny, then I want to work on the font. I can decide to click on this to work on the font. Then click on bold. Select 14. You see it's more bigger. Then I can still readjust this button. See, I think it looks more nicer now. More nice. So now let's select. I want to make this button a Windows 10 format button or Windows 8, a flat form. So I'll just go to flat style. Look at the flat style. Go to this on standard. You change it to flat. You see, I stand flat. So I don't want to display that hello world on. I don't want to display it on a message box again. I want to display it on a label. So just select a label and you enter. Don't forget the way I asked you to always bring a control, which is go to your toolbox, select that toolbox, then we have label. Nice label. If you didn't see it, instead of stressing yourself, just type label and it will bring it. So double click on that label, it will appear on this form. You see, that is the label. So let's move it out. No, let me drop it here. So now that is it. So this label, I can name this text to message. So now I can also change the label font. I can make it bold, I can change the size, and I can change the font. Change the size, let's change it to 22 to make it more bigger. Good. So now is the label. So now I want this program to display at the middle of the screen. So I'm going to select the form, which is the form holding everything. Go to the property of that form. Then I'm going to select start position. So at default it will be in Windows default location. Instead, select it and put center screen. So once we run this application now, it will be displayed at the middle. Can you see it? Can you all see it? I believe everyone is following. So you click on this now. You know why it's still bringing this and this one is not working? That is, the message is not working. Is because the code is still inside button. This button, we've not removed the code of this message but inside the button. So meanwhile, and this one is not working because we've not written any code for it to run. It's just looking at us like a moron. So the next thing you need to do is to click on it again. Let's go back to that place. Then I'm going to comment this. So as I'm teaching you, I'll be explaining each and every one of those things I'm going to be doing. There might be some that I didn't include in those content, but as I'm making mention of them, I will be explaining each and every one of them. This double forward slash that I added to this code is to comment a line, a particular line. If you want to comment a particular line of code, that is a single line of code. That is what you use, double forward slash. So to comment the line of code. So meaning you comment this line of code now, meaning the compiler is going to see that, okay, this programmer did not want me to run this line of code. So if the compiler gets there, it just skip and go to the next code. So let's test run and see so that you see how it works. No, I know most of you will be thinking that, okay, we are to display hello world. Now if I click on this, it won't do anything because there is no code in it, rather a comment. You see, I've commented this, so it's not working again. I change it to what? To a domain code there. So now what I want now, I don't want to use that message, but I want this message here, this label message, and it's called label what? Go to your property of that message. Make sure you select, look at this is button, right? this message, make sure you select that particular message you want to work on. Go to the property, then look at it. It's still named label 1, but I don't want it to be label 1. I will just come down to where it's called name. The name of this label, I'm going to give it a name now. I'm going to do naming ceremony for it. So we have name, and the name of the label is called let's call it message or MSG. Let's call it TST MSG. I normally use TST because so that for me to know I'm working with test. TST MSG. So now if I should come here and type TST MSG, see, it's going to come out. So you enter or you space bar TST SMG dot. Instead of dot show, now we are not going to use dot show, because if we put dot show there will be error, because TST MSG does not have any function called show. Instead it uses dot test, and that dot test meaning the text that is being inserted into TST MSG is what I need, so which is equals to. Now instead of putting this open and close bracket, now instead TST MSG will now be equals to hello world. Hello world. Now can you see the difference between these two? The first one is in bracket, which is message bus dot show. That is when I'm using a message bus, because message bus is a method call. It's a class that has a method called that has a function called show. So now if we call a class message bus, the function inside, which is the method, must have a open and close brace. You should understand that, which inside that open and close is where you want to put what you want to display, and it must be in quotation, in quote, because it must display a string, in string. So we have TST message dot text also. This one means all the information that we want to display should be displayed into the text format of TST MSG, which is our TST message. So is equals to hello world. That is TST.text should be equals to hello world. So anything that they click on, if the user click on that button, it will just transfer this hello world into message and also display it to the user. As simple as that. So let's run it and see how our output is going to look like. So this click on me, you click it, and you see we have hello world. So this is just a simple program to display hello world. I want you guys to always subscribe to this channel so that you can be notified anytime I post a new video. So you should watch out for the next lesson, where we are going to do some other operations that will be a little bit difficult than this one. But don't be scared, it's not difficult. Once your mind is there, you are going to understand one or two things from it. So just bear with us and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to be able to be notified for a new video. Thank you very much.